You have to be the devil's advocate for your own excuses. Welcome back to Wallet Reset. It's Mike Malbrough, and today I want to tell you basically how you can crush your excuses, how you can actually go from having problems or having problems with really getting where you want to go in your life, and how to get rid of those problems over time. So before I get into it, let me just make sure you understand that what I'm actually trying to get across in this video is not that it's like you only do this once and you're perfect. What I'm actually trying to teach you is a system of constantly testing yourself and changing your beliefs so that when you create an excuse, you can immediately diffuse the excuse that keeps you in the self-defeating loop that you have, or self-defeating habit that you have. And this is not for me to pass any judgment, because this is something that I constantly and consistently am working on and struggle with on at least a weekly basis. So if you're struggling with it, you have to understand that I'm giving you this as a way to just do what helps me, right? You may have another way of doing things, and if you do and you're successful with it, please, by all means, do that. And as a matter of fact, I would love it if you would share what you do when you start to set a goal and then create excuses of why you haven't hit that goal, or why you can't do what would move you towards that goal. Because we are all working towards improving ourselves. So what is important specifically, right? And I'm going to gear this towards business, because this is something that I'm constantly working on. I'm a marketer. I'm also a consultant on occasion. And one thing I've noticed is that there is a difference between people who have success and who have failures, is that typically speaking, people who consistently struggle and have failures are the people who believe that when they start to explain to themselves what's causing them struggles, they don't recognize it as an excuse. They recognize it as a legitimate reason. Whereas people who succeed 100% of the time do not care what it is that comes in front of them. They're almost like, there's almost a detachment from whatever reason there is to fail. And they just look at it like, I have to do this because it's on me. It's my responsibility. All right. So in order for you to basically become successful, you have to understand that every reason that you have for not doing something that you set out to do is your responsibility to basically void that reason. So don't even listen to the momentary logic that you create in order to escape responsibility. Because that momentary logic, although it makes perfect sense, is an excuse that's based on an emotion that just boils down to, I don't feel like it, right? And in the moment, that's extremely hard to do. So what I like to do whenever I set a goal, like for example, I'm doing my video today a little earlier, partially because I really was in this mind space of saying, I have to do these things. And at the time, I'm doing something that doesn't actually move me forward in my area that I want to grow, right? And so what I'm really ultimately doing is I'm doing this video early, because if I do it later, it'll be easier for me not to do it, right? And I know that because of all of the times that I've failed. So number one is you just get it done early. Get it done as quickly as possible. And number two is when you come to the conclusion or come to the point where you should be taking action, and you realize, like, I don't really feel like it, through whatever excuse that you have, right? So for example, one of the big ones in a business that I will have noticed is lack of resources, lack of time, lack of money, lack of whatever. And so in that moment of having that excuse, you justify why you can't do something, which is never true. You can always do whatever it is that you want to do. if you take the proper action. So the first thing you have to do is you will hear yourself or visualize yourself failing, right? And you have to basically create a devil's advocate thought, which is the opposite. Like, what would cause you to fail? And really just like literally play through what would cause me to do this? What would cause me to fail, and what would cause me to succeed? And what would I have to do right this moment in order to succeed? And what would I have to do right this moment in order for my failure to actually take place? And most of the time, what you understand by doing that, and even if it takes you 5-10 minutes to do, what you realize by doing that is that what you have to do to fail is what you've tried to do by creating the logical excuse. And so for me, what a lot of times I'll do is I'll just have the habit of going forward. And one thing I would say to do that I'm actually starting to do myself is write down the actual excuses that you consistently create for yourself, right? Write down because here's the thing, you have a logical path that takes you to those excuses that while you're in your logical mind, when you're in your logical framework, you don't boil it down to the fact that it's an emotional decision. And so you trap yourself into a corner of failure by listening to the logical brain create your excuses. And what we have to do if we're going to have success in our businesses, or if we're going to have success, even something that I can consistently do for the last 6 or 7 months now is just work out. If you're going to successfully go to the gym every morning and work out, especially the way that I do it, I seek this comfort. And the reason why is because that is the battle between logic and emotion, right? When you're uncomfortable, you have a side of you that literally just wants to say, no, I'm not doing this. I don't want to be uncomfortable. I want to be as comfortable as possible. I want to have fun. I want to feel joy all the time. And then there's a part of your brain that's logical that says, I've made this decision, but I have a conflict. And typically speaking, especially early on, that side of your brain wants to work with the emotional side of your brain. And what you have to do is condition your brain, the logical part of your brain, to work based on what you've told it to do, what the directives are that you've given it. And a lot of times what that means is you have to write it down, you have to look at it consistently, and you have to create a scheduled routine that feeds that successful version of you. And if you don't have those things in place, then in the moment, your emotions will be the strongest drive that you have, and not the logical decision-making part of your brain that made the decision that says, I want to build a strong business. I want to start advertising my products. I want to create this ultimate course on how to do whatever you want to do, right? And so in that moment, you are seeking temptation to fail because you don't have a directive, because you don't have a structure. And so ultimately what I would say to do is this, right? And this is kind of like the way that I kind of approach having success and basically overcoming that excuse that I create for myself is I literally test all of my excuses visually in my head. And I say, okay, well, what does success look like? What do I actually want? Right? And that is key. Like if you just boiled it down to what do I want? And you thought that through and you say, okay, well, how do I get what I want through what I do right now? Right? What do I need to do in order to get closer to where I want? You're not going to get it immediately unless it's a small short-term goal. But if you've got a large, like hard goal, like I want to make $1 billion, that is the filter that every decision that you make that has to do with business goes through, right? Now, your goal probably shouldn't be to make $1 billion. Your goal should be maybe to help 1 billion people. You know what I mean? Because that's a way more accomplishable goal because there's passion behind that goal. Whereas if you're focused on dollars, a dollar is just a version of energy. So If I said I want to, in my lifetime, eat 1,000 burgers, that actually has more value than saying I want to eat 1,000,000 or I want to make $1 billion. Hopefully you guys understand that. I'm kind of getting off on a tangent, but whole point is make goals that you're passionate about, and that will be the filter, right? Your visualized lifestyle of success and pleasure in the grand scheme of things should be the filter that you look through as you're making your daily decisions, right? As you create your schedule for your day. And so one of the things that I think is also vitally important, right? Especially if you've ever struggled with procrastination, is create pockets of fun, right? You have to be able to enjoy the process. And so even though the process should be something that has its own merit and its own value in itself, so for example, if you help a customer, even on, like, let's say something kind of mundane like shoes, right? If you're selling shoes, the value in it is that you've helped a customer, and by the time the transaction is finished, you should, on some level, feel like you have benefited from helping someone else feel good about a purchase, right? You are actually serving someone. And if you don't feel that in all areas of your success or in all areas of what you're trying to go after, then the easiest way to do that is to find something to celebrate afterwards, right? And I said this kind of in a video yesterday, but I will create small micro goals or micro habits, and I do that by taking an action or taking part in the process and then celebrating, and then taking part in the process and then celebrating, right? And that's really what you have to understand, is that the goal is to find a way to play devil's advocate just so that you understand that your micro processes will at times come into a crossroads, right? And so, for example, I'm making YouTube videos right now, right? One of the processes that for me has actually come into question that I had before, and you may have noticed this if you've been paying attention to my videos lately, is so I started out by creating a product to help people start businesses, right? Online. And what I had to do is I had to actually stop promoting that specifically. And the reason why is because, yes, I do want people to be helped by starting a business, because I think that helps people change their lives, and that's really what I'm after. But on the other side of things, I understand that the problem that people who don't have money is not actually that they don't have money. That's not the real problem. The real problem is something internal, right? With how you define yourself or how you see life or how you make decisions. And so I came to a crossroads of saying, okay, well, what can I do to actually help people best, right? Now, yes, my product will help people, and it's a free product. And if I have it linked in the description if you do want to start a business, but you have to understand where I'm going with this, right? And where I'm going with this is saying the process is simple. It's a super simple process of starting a business or creating a business online. Even if you're not technical, it's honestly as easy as clicking a few buttons. But the main thing you have to do is understand that you have to have micro processes that build you towards success. So what I did, right, and this is why I'm focusing on my videos, is I'm doing a 90-day challenge of just making YouTube videos primarily to condition myself to take action on a daily basis to move towards a goal, right? It also will help me, it'll help me in a lot of different areas. I don't want to kind of muddy up this video because it's already getting long, but it'll help me a lot in various different areas. And then once I have 90 videos, I can hone in and say, okay, well, what are the videos that seem as though they've helped people the most? What are the videos that people are drawn to? What are the topics people are drawn to? What can I help? What is the thing that people need help with? And so ultimately, I still will promote my course, but I'm not making videos specifically to promote my course. I'm really making videos to spread out my reach and to be seen in order to get in front of people that I can help, because my product is useless without the people that I'm trying to help. So that's what I mean. Like, you're going to come to crossroads, and what my natural inclination was at the point that I came to that crossroad is to just keep promoting the thing, because on some level I'm a selfish person, right? And as you know, if you create a product, it's so that you can get something ultimately. But I don't want to be selfish, because money comes from helping people. It's really just a measure of how much you've helped people. And so my focus is, if I can help you, if I can help 10 of you, I'll make money. If I can make 100 people, if I can help 100 people, I can make money. But if I'm only focused on money, I can't make money, because you won't want to spend with me, because I won't be able to help you. So how you play devil's advocate is this. You really just have to go through a process of knowing what you're after, knowing the ultimate big picture goal, and then filtering everything, every action that you make through that, so that when you have excuses come up, you can play through how far that goes. If you maybe don't look at it like this is a momentary decision, but this is a decision that creates a path that a year from now, 2 years from now, if I continue to go down this path, I end up here. And I literally do that because on some level, every action that we take is addictive, right? Every action that we take helps us to have an emotion that makes it easier for us to take that action, so that we can create that emotion again. So I'm almost obsessive about making sure that I'm moving towards my goals at least a little teeny bit every day. Because at the end of the year, if you can get 1% better, at the end of the year, you've actually tripled your place in life, or where, you've tripled your success. So if you started out with $1,000 today and you get 1% better every day, by that logic, that's 365% better by the end of the year. So you should, at the end of the year, have $365,000 in the example. Now, that doesn't mean that that's actually going to be what happens. You could make more, you could make less, you could make nothing, because it's about really just staying focused on what you actually wanted before the excuse came up. So anyway, that's it for this video. Don't let the excuses stop you guys, okay? It's very difficult, but the excuses are lies that we tell ourselves to be comfortable, all right? And they're logical because they're lies. So yeah, that's it. If you have anything else that you do to defeat your excuses, how you play devil's advocate may be a little bit different than what I do, so please just leave that down in the comments. Help everybody else who sees this video to grow and to be able to use something that will help them along their way. This has been Mike Malbrough. It's been fun, guys. I'll see you guys on the next video.